We got a lot to talk about today about the Indianapolis Colts, the Indiana Pacers, Indiana Fever, and Indiana University basketball team. We're going to talk about all of that stuff. Mini camp for the Colts starts next week, not this week. The Pacers, they got their playoff game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the New York Knicks. That's coming up on Wednesday. Fever play tomorrow night on Tuesday against the Atlanta Dream at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. And, the Fever looked awfully good in that win against the Chicago Sky. And poor Angel Reese. Don't you feel bad for Angel Reese? I feel terrible for Angel Reese. It looked like things did not go her way in that game. But let's start by talking about the Indianapolis Colts and what we're going to see as we fall in love. We know what's going to happen in minicamp. And we know what's going to happen in OTAs. And we know what's going to happen in training camp. We have talked about this and talked about it. We're going to fall in love with Anthony Richardson again. And we're going to talk about that. Spend some time talking about that Friday. You'll notice this is not the typical place where we do Breakfast with Kent. We are in the sunny confines of Florida having a great long weekend because this weekend worked out really well with the Pacers having 8 days off, the Colts not being busy this past weekend. We fly back today. I can't wait. This is Breakfast with Kent for Monday, May 19th, 2025, brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry. At Today's Dentistry, your teeth are going to get better. They don't heal, but man, Dr. Mike O'Neill is going to get things straight with your mouth. That's what he does. Call Today's Dentistry today and make an appointment. Got to take good care of your dental health because your dental health, your teeth, direct linkage to cardiac health. So take good care of your teeth. You got a pretty good chance to have a well cared for heart as well. How about that? Like I said, give them a call, 317-849-2933. Ask for Julie and tell her that Kent told you to call. All right, make sure and subscribe. We're going to have a great prize that we will announce on Wednesday, the day of Game 1 for the Pacers and the Knicks. I think Pacers win this series. I think it goes 5 again. Tell you the truth, we'll talk about that. Plenty of time to do that. But make sure you subscribe because to be eligible for a prize, you must subscribe. It almost rhymes, doesn't it? Make sure and hit the thumbs up, right? That's the like button. If you're a polite person, and all Hoosiers are polite, right? Then, you know what? You will hit the thumbs up. And if you want to make a donation, no big whoop. But please include a comment or a question that will elevate the level of discourse for the station, can you? Thank you. All right, let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts, they got mini camp starting next week. It's Anthony Richardson's coming out party, the new and improved Anthony Richardson. You're going to have either Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones as a starting quarterback for the Colts this year, and we know how that's going to go. Anthony Richardson, we talked about it last week, talked about it Friday. He's going to wow us because he is a physical specimen. He has every single component you need to be an outstanding quarterback in the NFL, except he's not quite mature enough yet. So he's going to have to get there. You don't need to be mature to look really, really good at training camp, OTAs, minicamp, all of that. All you need is to be physically blessed. And that's what Anthony Richardson is. He is going to outshine Daniel Jones by a magnitude of 1,000,000 during camp. And so during the preseason, he's going to get a little bit of a look. But what you really need, and we talked about this last week, you got to get him reps in the preseason. And he needs not just to develop, but he's got to prove to these guys exactly what he can do and how well he can do it when the fur flies for real once we get to September. That's what counts. Not how good you look at camp, not how good you look in OTAs, not how good you look in minicamp. That doesn't matter a damn. What matters is those 17 regular season games. Can Anthony Richardson look good during those? And they need to figure that stuff out. Have to figure that stuff out by the time they get around to that opener to figure out whether they want to start Richardson or Jones, or what you're going to have is Richardson start like the first 3 games, then in comes Daniel Jones, Richardson gets benched, and you have total, complete chaos. We don't like chaos. Chaos does not lead to winning. So that's what we got with the Colts. That's what we're going to pay attention to next week. And we're going to try our best to restrain ourselves, not becoming the lovers of Anthony Richardson that we have during the previous 2 off seasons. All right, Pacers. Pacers going to get rolling on Wednesday in New York City at Madison Square Garden. And Pacers going to win this series? They're the more talented team for the first time in these playoffs. They're the more talented team. They move the ball fast. The Knicks, they don't have great athletes, but what they do have, they have intestinal fortitude and they got heart. They understand how to win. That's what they do. And so you better, if you've got your foot on their throat, you better stop them. You better make sure that you kill them. You got them wounded, you got to kill them. And that's the way this thing's got to go. All right? That's the way the series has got to start, and that's the way the series has got to end. The Pacers, of course, their first two series, they won in 5. You hope that is going to be what happens in this series. I think there's a good chance. And I don't care who they play in the West. People think that the West is better somehow than what you got in the East. My ass. Pacers going to win this series. I think the Pacers win their first ever franchise NBA championship. How about that? Then you got the Fever. Fever playing playing with Caitlin Clark, obviously, on Saturday. They disemboweled the Chicago Sky. That was ugly. Angel Reese, fine, good, whatever. Caitlin Clark isn't playing. Caitlin Clark is not some demure lady who's playing against these angry people who are trying to knock her on her ass. She can get a little bit angry herself. So she puts up a triple-double. Was absolutely awesome. We expect that to continue tomorrow night. The open period for evaluation. That's what we're in the midst of as Indiana, under Darren DeVries, tries to figure out exactly what they're going to be able to do as far as recruiting. And what I hope is that what they're able to do is stick to their guns, stick to what Darren DeVries says is really, really important to them. And what's important to them is culture, togetherness, finding guys who can coalesce into a unit. That is what's going to carry Indiana basketball moving forward. That's going to be the difference between what we saw when Archie Miller was a coach, what we saw when Mike Woodson was a coach. We're either going to see a coalescence, or we're going to see the same fractured nonsense, the same 5 guys with 5 different agendas doing 5 different things. And you can't have that and win at Indiana. You just can't. You can't have it and win anywhere. But we've seen over the last 9 years that Indiana has really not been very good. All the way back to Tom Crean's last year, you've seen a lot of this. You've seen 5 fingers of flapping like this to their own rhythm and nothing like that. This is what you got to get. And sometimes you have to take a Pasadena on a top 10 ranked recruit in order to go get somebody maybe ranked 150. Go get a Braden Smith. And then you got guys who can play like this. And it's guys who play like this that are going to win you championships in the Big Ten, in the NCAA tournament, whatever. You got to come together like that. So we'll see if DeVries is able to assess that. Looking for athletes, that's the easy part. You just go, you sit in the bleachers, and you wait for your eyes to kind of go, rrr, and then they fix on the guy who is the athlete on the floor during that game. And there's never any question about it. Any fool can walk into a gym and know what that is. But you can't be any fool and then decide, oh, okay, you know what? That guy's going to fit with this guy. You have to have a talent for that. That's the art part of it. The science part's easy. Tom Crean knew all about the science part. How long is he? Oh, he's 6'2", so 74 inches tall, but he's got an 82-inch wingspan. That's the guy that Tom Crean wanted. What Tom Crean missed was, hey, can these guys come together and play together? And that's where their money is made, whether it's Tom Crean or any basketball coach. But Dusty May does a great job of it. That's the difference between Juwan Howard and Dusty May. Juwan Howard thought that you just walk into a gym and you say, gimme, gimme, gimme. These guys are really talented. I can, through the force of my will, I can get these guys to come together. You know, the guys who are able to do things, like when Larry Bird was a general manager and when Larry Bird was a coach, but really the general manager, he didn't prize the work ethic that he brought. guys who have great work ethic and they succeed because of that work ethic, they think that they had great talent and that it's not work ethic. And so those guys go out and they recruit the talent without understanding that it's the work ethic that got them over the hump. Mike Woodson had no clue about any of this. And so you wound up with disjointed basketball. That's just the way it works. This is going to be a cool month. And we've got the Indianapolis Motor Speedway getting fired up again this week. Carb Day on Friday. Then we got the race. And how cool will it be that this thing is finally on TV again, live, for the market in which it serves? I think that's awesome. Good for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I know they waited until they sold out. Didn't have to wait till they sold out. Should just cancel the thing because they'll sell out quicker for people watching this thing live. They don't understand that, and that's a shame. But that is the first rule. The first rule, and really the only important rule of broadcasting and how it affects gate. The more it's on TV, the more people are going to want to come watch that game, that event. Let's celebrate some birthdays, shall we? The great Corey Sarowik celebrating a birthday. Ursula Hoffman. How about that, Julie? Ursula Hoffman celebrating a birthday. Dennis O'Malley, happy birthday to Dennis. John Chandler, Jason Lovell, Matt Schukart celebrating a birthday. Nora Spitznagel celebrating a birthday. Darren Burns and Greg Tao celebrating a birthday. If today's your birthday, you celebrate like hell. And best to do it here. This works. This is a good place to celebrate. You're going to celebrate. I'm telling you, Anna Maria Island will get it done for you. You don't have to do much. There's no heavy lifting in Anna Maria Island. You can lift yourself into a good celebration. You don't need others. But in central Indiana, you do. So lift each other. Be good to each other. We'll talk to you this afternoon back in Indianapolis. That's the miracle of air travel. We'll talk to you then. Have a great day, but I'll bet you're not going to have as good a day as me.